Hello, it's Thursday. So I've been encountering this image everywhere. And I mean, people have been messaging it to me, that's been posted on the Discord, I see it when I'm scrolling through literally any feed anywhere. And I love the croissantosaurus, okay? But every time I see it, it just reminds me that it's not real. It's AI generated, for anybody who didn't know. So today, I'm going to be attempting to recreate this image, and I'm going to be using crochet for that because I do not know how to croissantosaurus. I don't really know what colours I'm going to need for this, so it's better to be prepared. That should be enough to get me started. Will there be a pattern? Let's just wait and see how it turns out first. We're just trying to learn the shapes of our chunky fella here. So this is really just more about exploring the wrinkles than anything else, because like if I don't understand the shapes that we're trying to make, how am I supposed to make them? Right, so that's an approximation of him from one angle. But the problem with this sort of thing is that I really need to know what he looks like from all angles before I get started. So I need to try and like take him and like turn him. Maybe I can use an actual croissant. Not just... Cool. So we're just going to pull up images of croissant, and we're going to see, can we find a nice curly one? Perfect. That's going to tell us what this little dude's, at least his pelvis is supposed to look like from the front. I'll start slightly further down than that. Oh, hello, I'm the dinosaur man. He's like the gingerbread man who never shows up on time because he's flaky. I amuse myself anyway, it doesn't matter. Never before has piece breakdown been quite this important. Okay, so having broken down these pieces, there's definitely a few shaping challenges here today. So namely, there's wrinkles and folds, lots of layers, inset limbs, and just the overall flaky texture. And also he's just so happy to be here, and I really want to try and capture that as well. Okay, so the thing is that there's a teacup and like a plate in this photo. So that means that I have to make it to scale with a teacup and a plate. But thankfully, I have a couple of options. Hold on one second. So we have these, and we have these as well. I think the edge on these ones here sort of matches what's in the photo we're trying to replicate a little bit better. And so that we've got very teacup-looking teacups for those, or bigger plates, again, with bigger teacups if I do need to go a little bit larger. So yeah, we're not going to worry too much about matching the photo exactly. We're just going to try and use what we have and try and capture the same general vibe. So I think this cup, and I fished out one of the plates from the bottom. His butt has to fit neatly in the middle of this. So this is our canvas. I guess we just got to get started. So I should pull up a photo of my little dude. And that's just a croissant. There's my little dude. Now it's a question of like, which bit do I want to start with? And I think we know the correct answer, it's just also the hardest answer. Working out which colour here is interesting as well. It's like we have options. I think while we can layer darker colours over the top, the true breadiness should be pale. There we go, first magic ring of 6. It's all downhill from here. So the logic here is that by using the pale colour, this is just gonna look like that fluffy bread filling. At least that's what I hope. Or is croissant technically pastry? I know it's laminated dough, but I don't know which one that counts as. What's up, mate? You want to be laminated? Yeah, we'll just give you a little pointy booty out to 42. Right, I think that is the top of our dough. Now we just need it to rise. I think this is the coziest we've ever been. Hopefully that gets you a nice view of what's going on though. You can see how shiny my nail polish is as well. Look at all the colours. Alrighty, so we've got a good little dough ball. We just need to finish closing off its butt. Okay, so there we have our nice little dough ball. Fits on a plate. So I think we all know what we need to do with this now. Let's see how it went. Oh, well. Seems a little underdone. I guess we're just gonna have to crochet the rest of the pieces. I decided to start with the limbs. Tiny little claws. Do you reckon that's tiny enough? I think that's a good point. The scale with the rest of him might be a bit big. We're just gonna try our best. these claws. I think these are fine for the outside, and I think we want something slightly smaller for the middle claw on each of them. Making tiny feet. Or hands, I suppose. I think they're about the right size. They might be a little oversized, but I feel like layers are going to add a lot of bulk to our dough ball, so... Post-stitching is a big part of my plan here, so I think it's going to help to shape the limbs into layers, and I think the visible loops will add to a crusty texture. There we are, that's the winner. A little bit of a different texture in those loops, a little bit of that colour difference coming in. We might have to do something to tone down the difference in those colours, but I really think that's going to work really nicely. Look at that. So yeah, so the little front posting, back posting stitches we've done in there should allow the arm to bend either way, so we won't need to like make a different one for the left versus the right. The colour is very stark, the difference between them there, but maybe I'll be able to find a way to adjust that, temper it down slightly. I do think that some colour differentiation was necessary for this particular pattern. Oh, I'm showing you the back of it instead of the front. There we go. So with that resolved, I'm going to be able to start like pounding out a few more of these pieces. Toes! Technically fingers and toes, but toes. So all the feet are the same, but now we need to make some croissant-y little legs. So that's going to be tricky. Alrighty, we've achieved sort of a little bit of an upswell. Okay. We probably need to do our next roll of crustiness, except I don't really want the next roll of crustiness to be straight across. I want it to be on an angle. So, yeah, so we're going to chain a couple of times. We could work into row 12, which is these, row 11. But I think we're going to go down to row 10. So there we go. We've got the first half of our row re-established here. So ignoring our little chain there, we have a nice crooked foundation that we're now going to use as our new row. So there is our little roll, and it's like tilting away, and it's going to curve this leg around. This is going to be the right leg, I think. So we'll change back to our brown, build up a chunky section, and then we'll tilt the next row. $18 is perfect. There we go. So see how the room is now diagonal, and we've got this like little extra leftover flappy bit inside, and that's fine. We're just going to live inside, and we're just going to like chunk out the rest of the leg. I will say that I think this is the most significant design challenge I've embarked upon in a while. It's another little roll. Honestly, I think these are getting easier the further in I get. So another single crochet through those loops, and back to our starting point. So yeah, we are taking this offset seriously. This is all just going to be inside now, so it'll fit against our dough ball. Yeah, I like this. This is coming out well. One more section to add. I think we're finally back up to the top of the row. This is tricky. Did I say this was easy? I was wrong. Oh, we're out of yarn again. Yeah, look at that. That's how close we were to a success. Bah. Okay. Whoop. Okay. Finish little croissant drop leg. I don't know where my pin cushion is. There he is. Hey, buddy. Why are you covered in pink? All right, eggs. We'll take our dough ball. Then we've got the leg we just made. It lines up sort of near the back here. Okay, and then we need one for the other side. Okay, so his legs are looking, I think he's looking pretty croissant-y, honestly. So then we also made the arms, which, don't get me wrong, I think aren't perfect, but with additional layers added will look pretty good. That feels like progress. It's looking like the picture. Let's bring our plate in for size here. Well, that's pretty good. We might have to adjust the angle of those legs a little bit. Now, one other piece that I've also made here is the tail. Now, the tail doesn't look like a lot right now because it's just like this long cone, but you'll find that the magic really happens when we bend the tail. And I'll tell you what, all of that slug making practice from when I made those fidget slugs went into this shaping. So we've got pretty accurate shape there. So that will go, just pin the base in place. Needs a little bit more stuffing, but for now it can just go in place. And what that tilt is going to do is also just hide all of the ends of my rows. Because like I know that there are things you can do to avoid that. I just don't see the point. They're going to be covered up anyway. So, and then it's like boink and doink and doink. So the angle of the tail is pretty good and where it's anchored. So we'll just try and use that as like a foundation here. Fantastic. I think he's coming together really nicely. So there are a few obvious pieces missing here. Plate. So I think the next thing that I want to be doing is building up these rolls. So these are the front and back rolls. He's still missing his head, but we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm going to layer up these rolls and see if we like how it's coming together so far. Let's try building up from the back to the front. So these littler ones are for. I think the edges of these ones here might have to tuck under those legs. Stuff. So I've made him very bottom heavy, giving him a real little belly, little pooch. Do I have another back roll here somewhere? I do. So that's the backs of the arms. You can tell because like it dips in, and so that's going to be like the rest of the circle around. Little opening there. Tuck the arm in. So when pinning something as complex as this, you always have to make sure that you're like at least 110% happy with the pinning position, because by the time you sew it on, that's going to drop. It's going to decrease to like 90%. So if you aim for like over, like so ecstatically happy with it, you'll end up with something you actually like at the end. Then we've got this like big broad backpack piece that we're just gonna, oh, I think I've pinned it on upside down. I have. Okay, we're back. We'll tuck that all the way under. He's such a wide boy. It's part of the neck. So I'm gonna just pop that to one side for a second, and I'm gonna make the head pieces. Okay, so that's gonna consist of a base piece. Where's our little base? It's gonna be up here. Yeah, see now I think you might be starting to see the vision. Let's see, how do I attach this so his head's at the right angle here? And look inside there, okay? We went, mischief is afoot. So for part of these rows, I had to like literally like depart from the round completely and just descend into the rest of the piece. So we've ended up with like this very like neat little tuck over bit, but it's a trick. He's one of those use every pin you have type of creations. Okay, so he has his head base, and so now we need a face mask. And I'm going to approach this the same way that I did for the big raptor. Yeah, so I'm going to make you a face. And that's going to look something like this. Now don't doubt me, because what we do is I left these bobby pins in to help me find the eyebrows, but we just like flatten. And it's double walled through part of it and single walled through another part of it. And there's a reason for that too. It's because I want this to stand out like the mouth line on that photo. But then where we go single walled, I'm going to be able to sew it together a little bit flatter. I hope. So we have that. And then I still have this other crusty neck piece. So come over here, sir. All right, let's do the face. Ready? Okay, how am I doing? Like, he may not look exactly like the photo, but I think he's looking pretty cute. What are those rolls? I'm learning a lot from this process about how to do rolls and wrinkles. There's a few different ways I would approach it with a simpler shape. So there might be like a Shar-Pei or a pug in our future. So in assembling this guy, I want to try and get that perfect flaky crust. And I don't think the colors are currently cutting it, but I have some ideas. What I have here is we've got some water and a palette and our little swatch. I've got some acrylic paint, which does give a stiff and plasticky like feel to the fabric, but I think that's actually fine with this particular project. But I also have some watercolors, and hey look, I found one of my bobby pins. So that's, what, 1 out of the 400 that I'm missing. Good for me. Yeah, I have some watercolors here just in case like I can use those to like stain it. So we're gonna like mark this out in some stripes and just see if any of them are usable or what we're after here. So you're not gonna need much paint in any case. So we'll dob out some of these little, oh, not even open, look at that. Wow. There we go. These are just from Kmart in case anybody's, oh, not opened either. There we go. There we are. So we've got a couple of colors there. So we'll try those in some stripes. Okay, I can already probably tell that one there is not going to be the winner. Trick seems to be to not allow it to chunk up. That one's more of a burnt croissant than anything else. Clearing the acrylic away and bringing in the watercolors. So what colors do you reckon we should try? I reckon we try black just to see if just adding a little bit of a black overtone. This was like a $2 set of watercolors. Like, okay, so maybe not. That's a little too pigmented. I thought it would maybe just add like a slight grey tinge. Maybe if I was doing it with a sponge instead. But in any case, that's, I think, clearly not the answer. I think the yellows are getting us closest to what I'm looking for here. We're gonna let all this dry and we can always continue our experimentation on the back afterwards. So like there are our finished swatches. And I did do a little bit more on the back. This gives me a much better idea of how the paints are gonna react on the surface, which does show me which colors I need to be using and which techniques don't show up at all. And I do think a mix of the acrylic and the watercolor is going to be my best option here, particularly as I don't really mind if he ends up with like a plasticky texture because he is meant to be crusty. Crusty in the best ways. Crusty like bread, not socks. All right, so we only have one more piece to make today, and that is his little eyeballs. I'm trying to decide, right, if I'm going to be using safety eyes, which are quite small and shiny, because like normally my go-to would be to use the 20mm safety eyes on something like this, but I want him to look like the photo. Reminder of the photo over the top of my camera, which is not currently on. And I think that these might be a better fit, but I have to try and take that shiny down a notch. I've got a tool for that. It's my hollow taco, right? But it's the matte taco. It's just matte finish nail polish for anybody not super internety. And even if this doesn't work for this project, I'm sure I'll find a reason to have whatever effect this has for a different project at a different point. So let's just give him a nice coat. Give it a second to dry. Because we don't want to take all the life out of them, but we just want them to be slightly breadier. Oh wow, that's really good, look. So we have obviously matte on the left and shiny on the right. Makes me wonder what you could do with like crackle coating, or you can make some really spectacular eyes with the magnetic polishes you can get. Thank you. So the other part is he has like a swirl that goes around his eye, and he has like a little paler disc that the eye itself is connected into. So I'm gonna do that now. Just trust me, okay? I know it looks a bit silly right now. That's one full round. The exact positioning on the face is eluding me a little bit, but like, I think we're capturing a similar vibe. And I want as many loops as possible visible on this final thing to give it the ultimate layered crust. I think that's gonna work. I think I'm gonna make another one now. Like that. And I think that's all of our pieces. Okay. I would like to take a moment to talk to you about your car's extended warranty. I'm kind of torn as to whether or not I paint and then sew, or sew and then paint. But I think I'm going to sew and then paint for the pure reason that I'm trying to emulate a specific photo. And so I won't know where those like shadows and brown crusty bits are actually going to fall until they're sewn on. But looking at this little layer cake of a dude, sewing is going to be complex. But you're going to enjoy a lovely sewing montage of shloop, shloop, shloop. Probably that's going to take like 5 hours. placing my bets here. But yeah, so enjoy, and we'll come back on the other side of this and fancy him up a little. We're just slooping. Okay, so we have gotten a little scratch on the eye there. So that answers that question. It does scratch straight off, but I'll just dab a little bit more on there when we're done. Okay, so after literally days of work, the time has come to paint the details onto our croissantosaurus. So we're going to be brave together. Yeah, that's a positive way to put this. Okay, you may have noticed that I've started with a certain side. The side that isn't going to be shown in the final image. That was a deliberate choice. I am getting covered in paint. So I've done all the pale yellow into the cracks. I was stressed I started with the opposite side, but I think it's coming out okay. We're just gonna, again, starting with like the quote-unquote wrong side, so that at least it's facing away from camera if it turns out real bad. And we're just gonna like toast up some of him a little bit. I swear there is some method to my madness. Okay, I think that's the best we're going to be able to do, and now I just have to leave it to dry. So there is my attempt at a croissantosaurus, the croissantosaurus if you will. I did my best to emulate the photo, but I know my shortcomings and I welcome any and all photography advice in the comments. So yeah, take that AI. I hope you like our little T-Rex, and I'll see you next week. Okay, bye! Hello, it's Thursday. Hello, it's Thursday. Croissants. Croissants are the answer. But we don't have time for croissants because we're croissanting. Hardest working tortoise in all of the land. Tell you what, if anybody served me this dinosaur, I don't know how I would eat it. I am good with jam. Oh, wait, no, I'm more of a cheese and bacon kind of gal. Every so often there comes a project where I wish drawing it was the whole challenge. Today might be that day. Ah, I lost yarn chicken. Yeah. Oh, hello. I don't know if I've shown you before. Anyway, they're from my nana, and I love them. They're very old compared to me. I'm gonna skip a stitch in there, so back we go.
Do stalks grow and harvest human babies?
Do what?
Stalks grow and harvest human babies.
It depends on.
Because where do they get them from? Like they have to have like some kind of incubator setup. Is it like IKEA? Is there some assembly required?
Honey, are you actually asking me where babies come from? Came in as well, so like one. Okay. Don't turn off on me, please. I wish you wouldn't do that. That's very, very annoying. Turn back on. 1 second, I'm fixing it. Quack, quack. Ah, you're still with us. And even if it does, I'm so sorry that this is in the way. Let me just, how about we just move you? How's that? Is that better? I think it's better. We can always frog it. Because the froggos and the dinos are good friends. Crusty little fellow. Yay! I appreciate your support.